Who's so ready? Sorry, I didn't hear you guys. Are you ready for day 3? Because we are turning up. What was your biggest aha from yesterday, day 2? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. And did you finish taking action? Did you start it? Cool. Rubber band needs to be longer. That's so good. I love that. Tiffany, shut up. You're here? Oh my gosh, hi. 10s, yes, 10 things. Aren't those so cool? Started, so good. Lots of action, amazing. Repurposing, finished 20 top 10 thing lists with descriptions. So good. The 5 markets, right? Amazing. What else? What else? Let's keep them coming. Using the 10 things and implementing emails. Fantastic. Feels good to go back to basics with a fresh lens. Who likes that part of this? Who likes learning things and having them applied in a different way? Kind of having a new experience with them? Weekly emails. Ooh, say that louder for those who didn't pay attention to that part and conveniently said, that doesn't apply to me, right? Okay, so today we're going to go really fast because we have a lot to cover. So you will not want to be multitasking. We're going to dive in. There's a lot today. Not only are we going to be talking about why it is that you're spending so much time on content. That's exhausting, right? Like, how can you make content go further without sacrificing quality? Did you catch that? Drop a yes. Because a lot of times the way people teach how to make content go further, it drastically reduces the performance of all of that content. Who's seen that before? Where people are like, I'm just going to record all of my Zooms and I'm just going to splice it into 1,000 pieces of content. And then they have 1,000 pieces of content going out all month and none of it seems to get engagement, right? But also before we get into that, we're going to talk about the exact types of content that I love and how I discovered this. We're going to be discussing why Alex Hormozi's video style will not work for you. Drop a yes if you've been needing that one. Who's tried it? Doesn't work for everybody. I'm going to explain why. And we're going to create, or rather discuss, your custom formula and what that means for you. Cool? But also, are you guys cool if we get a little bit nerdy with some psych today? Anyone been loving that? We're going to talk about something that is almost never discussed in psychology. And I'm so excited about it and how it's stopping you from taking action, which I think is so cool. And then if we get to it today, we'll be talking about why you're working harder than you need to be. Anyone cool with ethical shortcuts? Notice I said ethical. We're not going to be stealing anything here today. All right. So let's dive on in. Okay. So the very first thing I want to discuss today is the 4 V's. I like to study stuff. Is anyone else that way? You like to study things. You like to know why is it that certain things seem to work so well and others don't. Now, I wanted to do a deep dive into the longest running TV shows. Anyone ever wonder why a great show gets canceled fast? Do you ever get so bummed? What's a show that you were bummed was canceled after like 1, 2, 3, 5 seasons and you're still not over it, right? Can you think of one? Covert Affairs, Luther, House of Cards. Yep. These are so good. Okay. But then there are some shows that just won't end, like Grey's Anatomy. It refuses to end. Everybody's pretty much gone and it's still going. Now they're actually in like the next generation on Grey's Anatomy, which blows my mind. But I wanted to dive into what shows specifically never die. And do you guys want to know what the #1 type of show is? The longest runtime category. It might not be what you think. You ready for it? Late night shows, even longer than most soap operas on average. The late night show, Who is your favorite, like the late night show with Jimmy Fallon? Who's been your favorite late night show host? Jay Leno, Craig Ferguson, Dave Letterman. Have you watched several different hosts? Like when you don't like one host, you move to the next? Anyone have a favorite segment on a show? Just drop a yes if you're like, I love when they do this thing, right? I love when they're reaching into the box and trying to figure out what the thing is. So as I was diving into studying, why is it that late night shows never die? Why is that, right? Same thing with talk shows, but it's a little different. Late night shows never die because people crave variety. People crave something different. If you're watching a late night show and a celebrity that you don't like comes on, it's okay because you know within 1 or 2 commercial breaks, we're going to be on to the next segment, right? Who's recognizing this pattern? We know that if you don't like a karaoke game that they're playing, okay, just wait until the next commercial break. You've got a whole new segment. You've got a monologue. You've got presenting important news. Drop a yes, by the way, if you see this for yourself. Do you like variety or do you like the same thing all the time? Now, don't name any names, okay? Who's getting the ahas, by the way? Don't forget to do that today. It's important. It anchors it in for everybody, which is so cool. Yes. Okay. Who here has ever watched, no names, who here has ever watched like an influencer or an educator and they always talk about the same thing and they always kind of act the same way and you got bored of them? Drop a yes if that's you. You've seen it. You're like, uh-huh, I know exactly what you're talking about. We phase out of people that do not provide reality, okay? Now, let's talk about what this looks like. So there are 4 V's for content, okay? What the Buck guy on YouTube. We want more. We want to see a different side of a person. Have you guys ever like craved vulnerability from an educator, an influencer, an entrepreneur, a content creator, and everything was kind of like watered down so it wasn't real? Anyone ever crave that? You're like, could I see another side? Could I learn a little bit more? Please tell me that you're a little bit like me. Okay, so the first V is, this is simple. It's variety. This means, yes, you do have your awesome umbrella. Yes, you do have your 12 subtopics and 30 questions for each. But if all you do is provide value, people are going to get bored. Is anyone here only about your expertise, or are there more facets to you? Start to name a few facets. Anyone love dogs? Drop a yes. Anyone love horses? Anyone love fiction books, fantasy books, murder mysteries, Stephen King books? Anyone love cooking, baking? Anyone love going on walks? Anyone love nature, fishing, hair? You got it. When you see somebody share other parts of their life, it allows us to say, oh, I see something that we have in common, or cool, I get to learn something new about you. Okay, so variety is amazing because this is a place where you can be relatable without getting emotional. Now, write these words down, okay? Lowest common denominator is huge. I talk about this a lot for a reason. Lowest common denominator. Just pretend for a second that I'm a billionaire. Drop a yes or a no to each line and tell me if this variety, so something that's a totally different topic, is relatable to you or not, okay? I love to relax. Yes or no? Relatable? Cool. I love to take weekends off when I can. I love to travel and see new places. I love to party in Mykonos. I love, yes or no to that one? I love staying at the castle in the Dominican Republic. Yes, it's $2,000 a night for one room, but it's the best. Yes or no? Flying private is my favorite way to fly because you don't have to pay for checked bags. Did you catch that? This is where most people go totally wrong. Did you guys see what I did there? Drop an aha in the chat. Okay. Lowest common denominator is you have to recognize that there are certain experiences that are universal, right? What's the first thing you like to do in the morning? We all have an answer to that, right? But if I share my first thing that I do every morning is I lay down on my massage table that's in my massage room in my basement, and my massage therapist who's on, we're over it, right? This is where you get to share things that everybody resonates with. You don't make stuff up here, but you can share really cool things about your life. It's important that you decide these things before you start creating this type of content. You have to decide what's off limits. For example, my kids are almost 100% off limits. Paul's almost 100% off limits. They didn't sign up for this, so I just don't put them on stuff. I kind of like allude to it as much as I can, right? You have to decide your boundaries about variety before you start creating it. This is where people get in trouble. Just think about this. Don't answer. Do you want to talk about religion? Do you want to talk about politics? Do you want to talk about sex? Oh, important things to ask yourself. Okay, so just think about those things. Number 2 is vulnerable. Vulnerable. The trick to vulnerable content. I've done all kinds of vulnerable content. I've made every mistake you can make with it, okay? So I've learned a lot of this the hard way. When it comes to vulnerable content, do not share it in real time. Write the post, record the video, save it for later, even if it's just the next day, even if it's just a week later. Anytime that I have shared vulnerable content in real time, it has backfired in one way or another, even if it was just I was still too sensitive about it. Okay. Number 3, we have value. We mapped this all out yesterday. Who here feels like you're excited about value content? We've got the viral framework. We've got 10 things. Pretty powerful. And number 4 is viral. The key to viral content is it's current, it's relevant. All the rest of these ones can be created in a vacuum. If I only ever created content related to these, with the exception of value, because I'm not in an evergreen industry, I could record 5 years worth of content in a month and have it all pre-scheduled out, ready to go. No one would ever see me live again. But viral shows, this is live. I'm still here. This is why when celebrities hop on trends using trending sounds or doing something that's current or talking about something that's a hot or new topic, people love it because they say, oh, they're actually here. This creates the feeling of presence. Even if you have a team member sending you the trending sound to record. Drop aha in the chat if this is already making so much sense. You love it? Drop aha. Beautiful. Okay, now here's the thing that's very interesting. We need to talk about why, for some people, if they post more vulnerable content, it does really well. And for some people, if they post more vulnerable content, it detracts from their brand. Okay, are you guys ready for this? This is why Alex Hermosi's editing style probably will never work for you. Drop a yes if you've actually been wondering about this. Who here has thought about it once or twice, or you watched Mr. Beast style and you're like, I'm going to do that, right? Have we all fantasized about that at least once? Yeah. Okay. The reason why trying to recreate other people's formulas for this doesn't work for us is because of a really cool thing created by a brilliant man named Carl Jung. Anyone heard of him? He has a lot of mental models, and one of my favorites is brand archetypes. Okay. Now, you may have heard of brand archetypes before, but I think I'm going to share a layer to it that you may not have thought of. Okay. So are you ready? Get ready to write fast. There is the innocent. Number one is the innocent. They're optimistic, seek happiness and simplicity. Number two is the sage. Knowledgeable, values truth and wisdom. Number two is the sage. Number three is the explorer, adventurous, driven by discovery and freedom. Number three is the explorer. Number four is the outlaw. They're rebellious. They break rules to bring about change. Four is the outlaw. Five is the magician, visionary, creates transformative experiences. Five is the magician. Six is the hero, courageous, strives to make a positive impact. Six is the hero. Seven is the lover, passionate, values relationships and intimacy. Seven is the lover. Eight is the jester, fun-loving, brings joy and humor. Eight is the jester. Nine is the everyman or everywoman. Relatable, values belonging and connection. Nine is the everyman or everywoman. 10 is the ruler, authoritative, seeks control and order. 10 is the ruler. 11 is the caregiver, compassionate, focused on helping others. 11 is the caregiver. 12 is the creator, imaginative, driven by innovation and creativity. 12 is the creator. Now, yes or no in the chat, have you heard of this before? At least once or twice? Anyone pretty familiar with this, at least the list of 12? But here's what people don't tell you about these 12 archetypes. Okay, are you ready? There are 4 layers to each and every one of us. Woo! There are 4 layers. Is this oversimplified? Yes, there's probably a bajillion layers. However, according to Jungian psychology, number 1 is the persona. This is who we show the world. Like perhaps you've heard someone say like, oh, time to put on my work face or customer service voice, right? The persona is what you project outwards. Number 2 is the shadow. Your shadow encompasses all of the wild, instinctive characteristics that we repress in order to fit in with our community and culture. Number 3 is the anima or animus. Jung saw the true self as genderless, which is super interesting, but recognized that an individual's gender assignment was deeply influential to personality, okay? You may or may not agree with any or all of this, but a female's animus is her masculine side. Did you catch that? Or a better way to even say that would be someone who tends to be more feminine has a masculine animus. So this is like the opposite energy. And a masculine or male person's anima is his feminine side. Woo! Anyone kind of love this and kind of like, wait, what? And the 4th layer is the self. most likely the truest version of who we are. This archetype represents the individual's unified unconsciousness and consciousness. So whole, pure, perfect, only with your favorite people or only with yourself. Got it? Now, what's wild is each and every one of us has those 4 dominant layers, and each and every one of them is represented by a brand archetype. Oh, drop an aha in the chat if you're starting to see why there's no way you could take someone else's video style. Whoa. What's wild, and I know we can't get into this on this challenge, but what's wild is based on your combination of your 4 layers, based on which brand archetypes you have for each and every one of those, that's going to determine the percentages of each of these types of content that you're going to want to focus on. Dang, it makes sense. So for example, I'm mostly, it depends on where I'm at, but most of the time I'm either the every woman or the magician. That's usually the 2 I show up as. It just depends on which flow I'm in. And so a lot of my content can be value presented in a really neat way, but it can't be presented like how Mr. Beast records his videos because he's a creator and the jester. Okay, does that make sense? Cool, cool. Are there any more ahas? Ooh. Okay, who here is familiar with Carl Jung's other great work, which is, are you ready for it? Cognitive functions. We're going to get real nerdy. Can you guys give me just a moment to get real nerdy? It's going to come full circle in a really cool way. All right. So if you are familiar with Myers-Briggs, or if you've ever heard of MBTI, that's the acronym for it. It basically is a personality test, and it's almost universally considered the most accepted according to psychologists, therapists, etc. The only one that's more accepted is the Big Five, but they recognize that it's horrible for user experience. It's not fun. You can't be like, well, what's your Big Five? Well, I have a shape like this. You know, it's so much easier to say 4 letters. So everyone has 4 letters that represent them. There's either I or E for introverted or extroverted. There's N or S for intuitive or sensing, F or T for feeling or thinking, and there's P or J for perceiving or judging. None of this is binary. Please write that down. Personality tests are not meant to be binary. It is a spectrum. There are different levels of introversion. Can I get an amen in the chat? There are different levels of thinking versus feeling, and even from one feeler to the next, right? Okay, beautiful. Now, where this gets crazy, and this is where you have gotten stuck, okay, is when we dive into the nerdiest part of all of this. This is why change is so difficult. This is why it's the hardest thing in the world for us to identify things about ourselves. Can I get a yes in the chat if you felt that before? Like, who am I? What am I? Am I an introvert? Oh, I'm not actually sure. Maybe I am. Sometimes I am. I don't know. Is because each and every one of us has what's called a function stack. This is your cognitive functions. This is what MBTI is based on. Myers-Briggs, they basically took all of Carl Jung's IP, made a few changes to it, repackaged it, and sold it. Not bad, they're smart. But the cognitive functions underneath it all are what can actually help us to break free. I want you to write down, so you've got cognitive functions written down, right? Do you have function stacks written down? So there's a third thing that we're going to talk about, and it's loops. This is why we get stuck and we spiral. Okay? the cognitive functions that are available. This is going to get a little crazy. So let's get this together. All right. So there is, okay, we have SE. This is extroverted sensing. I'm going to go fast through this because you won't learn all of this in one day, I promise. It's a lot, and I've spent years and years studying how this works, how it affects us. I'll get to what it means. So if you want to follow along and take notes, go for it. But if you don't, that's okay. So we have SE, SI, NE, NI. We have TE, TI, and FEFI. And what it means is extroverted sensing, introverted sensing, extroverted intuition, introverted intuition, extroverted thinking, introverted thinking, extroverted feeling, and introverted feeling. Drop a yes in the chat if that's really confusing. You're like, what does all this mean? Okay. Every one of us has 4 of these functions in a specific order based on your Myers-Briggs. Pretty cool, right? And the order is determined by your Myers-Briggs. Cognitive functions are basically like your brain's preferred apps. Who here struggles to change apps? Anyone still on Pandora with me? I won't switch to Spotify. I love Pandora. Anyone stay on an email software way longer than you should? Because it's not easy to change, right? Anyone use the same tools again and again? Anyone use the same curler that you have for 15 years, right? Or the same hat. You always go back to the same store and get the same hat, okay? Everybody has them all, but the 4 that come first are the most influential, and they have different preferences. They influence the way that we act, okay? Now, are you ready for this? When it comes to creating content, posting content, researching, trying to even do your brand archetypes, who here gets stressed? Drop a yes to any of these. Who gets overwhelmed? Who gets frustrated? Who doubts the process or yourself? Who freezes? Okay, so it's super normal for all of us, right? Looks like almost all of us, okay? Who here gets angry? You're like, I'm going to punch the screen. Just kidding. I only do that when I build websites. Okay, so when you are unhealthy in any way, stressed, frozen, overwhelmed, angry, just like when you're creating content, when you are researching, when you're planning your hooks, when you're actually sitting down to record, trying to figure out your brand archetypes, it's technically unhealth, right? A little bit. Well, that gets you stuck in a loop. This is the loop, okay? I'll explain the overarching part and then I'll give an example, okay? You get stuck between your primary and your tertiary function. And basically what that means is you get stuck in a loop, avoiding the exact function that can break you out of it. It is almost impossible to break ourselves out of being stuck. Who needs to write that down? Such a wild concept. So for example, do we have any ISFJs here? And if a lot of this was over your head, it's totally okay, okay? I promise. I literally spent years and years studying all of this just to understand what the heck all of this meant. Is anyone an ISFJ here? We'll see if there is anyone, but if not, they're like the protector. They can be a little icy at times. But the ISFJ, their primary function is SI, internal sensing, which is memory. Memories, thinking about things that they've experienced in the past. And their tertiary, which means third, is TI, which is analysis. Okay? So I want you to imagine this poor ISFJ And we all have these, like I said, this poor ISFJ is going about their day, right? And this is their function stack, okay? I always have to look at this one because I don't know ISFJs as well. I don't have all the function stacks memorized. And what happens is they remember something. And now they're starting to overanalyze that memory. Did I talk too much at that event? Did I say something dumb? I wonder how people perceived me from that video. Oh, that one person left that comment and they said X, Y, and Z. And now they're stuck in analysis. And instead of breaking the loop, they play, write these two words down, cognitive bias with their brain. Cognitive bias, write this down. So instead of saying, no, that was just one time, I did a good job. I did my best, right? They decide to affirm what this loop is telling them by remembering another situation like that. And then they overanalyze it and then they remember it again. And it's really difficult to get unstuck when the truth is this right here, and sometimes even this, but mostly this, the extroverted feeling is what they need to do in order to break the loop. They become paralyzed about all the what ifs. What if this happens again? I failed so many times. And by the way, who here even relates to this loop more than you thought you would? What if I do it again? What if I mess up? What if I suck? What if people leave me in comments? What if? When if they just would tap into that externalized feeling, which means out there in the world, everything would shift and they're out of the loop and they're free. But that's very difficult to do without awareness and sometimes support and tools. So this ISFJ could break this loop by engaging with supportive communities and taking small calculated risks out there. Cool? Drop aha in the chat if you're like knowing that each and every one of us has a function stack and that's why we get stuck into loops. We're not broken. We're not defective. We're not mess ups. We're not failures. We're not incapable. We just all have these. This explains why when you look at the brand archetypes, it can be so difficult to even pick your 4 brand archetypes. Whew, that was a lot. That was really nerdy. Drop nerd in the chat if you agree. It's so fun though, right? So fun, nerd, but love it. One that comes up for a lot of people too, by the way, is when people who did not understand us or take the time to understand us label us. Those labels sometimes stick. Okay? Those labels sometimes stick. So when it comes to brand archetype, you can't just take a quiz real fast on it. You can't just go to somebody who decides in 5 minutes what you are. People need to take the time to really dig deep and understand you beyond the initial questions. Side note, has anyone ever had someone just judge them off of like a line or 2 or 5 minutes? One time someone asked me like why I didn't wear a bikini or something on this trip with a bunch of entrepreneurs. And I was like, well, this is going to sound really stupid, but sometimes when I'm on trips and stuff, people will take a picture and send it to me of me on the trip on Instagram. And I don't want pictures of me in a bikini being taken. And she said, oh, so you're pretty famous, huh? That must give you a lot of significance. Oh, no. 1, 2, 3 lines. I want you guys to write this in the chat. You don't know me. Get to know me, right? You don't know me. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So next we're going to be diving into domino content. Just to reiterate, if you cannot figure out your own brand archetype, you are not broken, okay? This is a lot of work. I love how someone said I would love a workshop just on that. Oh man, I consider that stuff a lot because that's where the nerd out zone goes. Okay, so domino content, write those two words down and why you're spending all day on content. Side note, can I tell you guys about one thing real fast? Because I'm so stinking excited about it. So I have been wanting to do this forever, and it took me a long time to back everything up with like the frameworks and the psychology and everything. This is not like official right here, but we're opening up a mastermind where we do everything you're learning in this for you. And I'm really excited about it because you know when you join something and then you have to do it all yourself, it's exhausting. And I was like, what if me and my team put everything together for a small group of people, a small group of established businesses, a small group of business owners who want us to like go in, get under the hood and build all of this out for them while also being in a mastermind. So Sam, you can share the link, but this isn't like a formal offer stack or anything like that, because that's going to be so much fun and I'm really excited about it. Okay. I'd let you under the hood, says Janessa. Okay, domino content, why you're spending all day on content. Are you ready? Yes, you can technically repurpose a 60-minute video, a 15-minute video into a million pieces of content. True? True. How's that been working for everybody? I already know the answer. We've all tried it, right? Drop a yes if you've tried this because you're like, I don't need to write my own blogs. I'll just transcribe my podcasts and it'll be amazing. And then the blog just falls flat. Nobody ever shares it. People don't even visit it or find it. Who's tried those traditional content repurposing models? Yes, we've all tried it. Okay, there are 4 types of content, just 4. And different ones work well for different Myers-Briggs. But if I were to teach that today, we'd be here for 7 hours. But there is, are you ready for it? Short form video. Okay, short form video is number 1. Number 2 is long form video. Okay. Number 3 is short form text. And number 4 is long form text. Examples of short form video: TikToks, YouTube Shorts, IG Reels, Facebook Reels, any short form video that you put anywhere else, okay? Generally speaking, it's going to be less than 60 seconds, but less than 90 is a kind of a thing too. So short form. This is usually vertical. Do not create content for short form platforms that is horizontal this way. It instantly says, I don't know what I'm doing. So don't do that, okay? It needs to be vertical. Beautiful. Who's catching, by the way, throughout this, that the jester is in my brand archetype stack? Okay, number 2, long form video. This is horizontal. And this can be as long or as short as you want. This could be 1 minute and 30 seconds. This could be 10 minutes. This could be 60 or 8 hours. Okay. Short form text. I like to call these truth bombs. Who here has ever seen one of my truth bombs where I drop just something where it's like a little bit plithy and I'm like, and people are like, yes. if I do it well, right? Most of the time it goes pretty well. It's basically like a quote that has intention behind it. If you read a book, most of the text in there isn't shareable because it wasn't written in short form text format. Okay? And by the way, the best authors intentionally add quotes into their book as they go so that people can highlight and share and save and add it to social. Brilliant, right? Okay, and the fourth is long form text. These, by the way, can be shared on like any platform that has a text box. Threads, Facebook, profile and page, YouTube community, X, LinkedIn. If there's a text box, these can work really well. Long form text, emails, blogs. This can be used in lead magnets at times. You can post it anywhere with a text box except for X and Threads. You have to break it up quite a bit so it doesn't always have the right formatting, okay? Now this is super important. Every single one of these types of content, these mediums, has a different intention and energy going into it. You cannot just record a long form video and imagine that you're going to get 100 short form videos from it, unless you wrote 100 short form video scripts and laced them all together in one long form video. Who's getting that? Who needs that? Who's actually kind of grateful to understand why it hasn't worked? Long form text rarely can be turned into truth bombs or short form text. Got it? Take a quick guess. How long do you think it takes me to write my pithy truth bombs? Not the ones where I say like, why do I always want Taco Bell at 2 a.m.? The ones where I'm like, I drop something and it's really valuable and people engage with it. And it's one sentence or two sentences. Less than 60 seconds. Less than 60 seconds. Do you want to know how long it takes me to turn anything from long form text into something that's valuable for short form text? 5 to 10 minutes. It is easier to create the content based on the 4 categories than it is to try to repurpose across the categories. It could take hours if the post just isn't right. Who's getting this aha and who wants to know where we go with it? Okay. So there are sister platforms where there are functionalities that make sense. So for example, if you were to post, hold on, let's go back to this. Actually, who's seen this or done this or any of the above? If you were to post a long form video that's horizontal on a short form video platform, it's going to fail, right? Who's seen it though? And it usually has 0 likes, 0 comments, 0 shares. Yes. But if you were to take a long form video from YouTube, download it and upload it either to LinkedIn, which has a horizontal platform, or to your Facebook page, that's a sister platform. The features are similar. The capabilities support one another. And in case you ever hear anyone say, well, don't the different platforms like it better when you create content? Well, I bet they do. I bet they do. But the truth is, does anyone here have a team of 25 people to create the content individually for each and every platform and optimize everything all the time? Nope. You got it. So let's talk about some of my favorite sister platform flows, okay? And these are just a few examples. Okay, and then I'll also fast value share a bunch of them. So sister platforms. Number one is, if I write it, it's going to slow me down. Number one is TikTok. I like to create in TikTok because it's faster and the video editor is better. I like the aesthetic of Instagram better, but TikTok to IG Reels. Pro tip to remove the watermark, you can use SnapTik, tik.app, just to remove that watermark with no issue. 2, IG Reels to TikTok. Sometimes you see a trend on TikTok and you love it. 3, Instagram post to LinkedIn post. Or even 4, to a Facebook page or a profile. Just remove the hashtags. 5, Facebook posts to Instagram. If I post a long form text post, I can pair it with a photo and instantly share it to Instagram. Just pick a great photo. 6, emails to Facebook group, long form text. And the inverse, by the way. Long form Facebook group text to email. This requires very minimal tweaking because these are sister platforms. 7, TikToks to IG stories. 8, I'm going to say this one with an asterisk, Facebook Lives to YouTube, but only if you do the live knowing that you're going to repurpose it to YouTube. Because if you're sitting there acting like it's a live and you're like, well, hello, everyone. Good morning. I got my coffee. It's going to bomb on YouTube. So you have to do the Facebook Live with the sister platform in mind. Okay. 9, YouTube videos can absolutely be turned into podcasts. This is one of my favorite workflows. All you do is remove the video. And on some platforms, you don't even have to do that. And 10, TikToks to YouTube shorts. You guys, the number of times I get under the hood of like 8 and 9 figure businesses and they literally are posting tons of IG Reels or TikToks and they're doing really well. And then I'm like, okay, so how's YouTube Shorts going? They're like, YouTube Shorts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are like one click away from having a whole nother platform. One more click, that's it. Pretty cool, right? Okay, I'm gonna go fast form on some of these. So feel free to take as many or as few notes as you would like, okay? YouTube Shorts to TikTok, if you prefer creating in YouTube Shorts. Podcast to YouTube, believe it or not. That one is a little more of an intense one, but it is doable. I have a really cool workflow for that one. IG stories to Facebook stories and LinkedIn stories too. Are you guys catching the theme with these sister platforms? Is anyone saying like, this makes so much sense? I'll pause for 1 second, drop an aha if this is all clicking. Right? Okay. Emails to IG captions. Facebook Lives to LinkedIn. IG Reels to your Facebook personal profile Reels. That's how I blew up to nearly 400,000 followers on Facebook. And in my hot season, I usually have about one really hot season per year. I've had as many as 18,000 likes on a post that wasn't a reel because of it, which is pretty cool. Okay, TikToks to Pinterest video pins. Pinterest pins to IG stories with a link. Blog post to email newsletter. email newsletter to LinkedIn post or article. Threads post to a Facebook page. Just add a photo if you want. And I'm going to pick one more. Ooh, I'm actually going to go off script for this one. 10 things list to Threads thread. Just pop that sucker in there and split it up. Okay. Ooh, good. Oh, this is a lot. I know. It's so fun. Oh, when did LinkedIn get rid of stories? Daggone it. The rest, though, I stand by them. I haven't been as active on that. All right. So your homework for tonight. Did you finish your homework from yesterday? I want you to take either one of like the 10 things that you've created or the transcription to an audio. By the way, real fast, this is one more massive tip that's super helpful. Oh, there's my crazy dog. Love it. So you can put the transcription into ChatGPT and say, can you please clean up this transcription without shortening it at all? Don't abbreviate it, don't summarize it, don't shorten it, just clean it up to make it readable. And then that way you can read what you were actually saying. But I want you to brainstorm and possibly even script. Take it as far as you can, okay? One of each of these based on whatever the source material is that you're using it from. Cool? Do you accept? And of course, if you're like, I actually don't want to do any of that, Rachel, can you guys just do that for us? Yes, we can. So that works too. Sam, feel free to drop the link. Good day. Amazing. So fun. Heavy. Intense. Remember to go back through your notes and write later on some things. Make it clear to yourself, this is not a rabbit hole I need to go down. Chances are what you need is this homework right now. Go do this, okay? Don't dive into Carl Jung. Don't go into the function stacks today. Go through your notes, take 2 minutes after this and write later on anything that you can take care of later. All right? Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow for day 4. Bye for now. And VIPs, should we take 5 or do you need more than 5? Do you need 7? That was intense, wasn't it? Who could have nerded out on Carl Jung's frameworks a lot longer? I really like that stuff. Okay, I'll answer a couple questions, then we'll take a 7-minute break just to make sure. But don't add any questions yet. Sam's going to put a line and then ask questions beneath that.